Okay, section 9.3 is rotations. This is our third type of transformation. And we're going to look at rotating a figure around a point. Okay, so let me first write some of this down and then we'll talk about it. A rotation of x to the 0, in other words, a rotation of x degrees. So we're going to rotate a certain number of degrees about a point Q, called the center of rotation, is a transformation with these properties. First of all, the image of Q is itself. Q and Q prime equal each other. Okay. For any other point V, QV prime and Q equals QV, they are the same length, and the measure of VQV prime equals the degree of rotation. So let me try and do a very simple diagram here, and then we'll go on and look at this a little bit more carefully. So if I have the point Q, if I rotate Q around itself, it stays right where it is. It's the center of the circle, for example. But for any other point V, if I take point V and rotate it, let's say 120 degrees, and we're going to use counterclockwise most of the time, and rotate it around and place it over here and call it V prime, QV and QV prime are the same distance, so I didn't go any further out from Q, and this angle measure is the degree of rotation that I said I was going to use. That's all this second thing is saying. So think of an old-fashioned record, and you have a point on the record, and there's the center of the record, and the record looks like this, and you put a point here, and you turn the record a little bit, and that's where the new point is going to end up. So we're rotating this record around the center of the record. Okay, now let's see what other properties we need to look at. X degrees is called the angle of rotation. And a rotation about a point is a rigid motion. You can write the x degree rotation of triangle UVW about the point Q as R for rotation. We give the number of degrees and around what point we're rotating of the original triangle equals the new triangle that's been rotated. So again, think of your record on the record player, and if you place a triangle on the record and spin the record with your finger, the triangle is going to move around that center, but it's not going to change its size or its shape. And unless otherwise stated, rotations are going to all be considered to be counterclockwise. So here's a rotation. It's not a great picture, sorry, it got cut off a little bit. But triangle ABC is being rotated counterclockwise around this point. And if I measured from B to the center and B prime to the center, they would be the same distance, and I could measure the angle. Same thing, the distance from, oops, back. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. I'm going to use a different color. The distance from C to the center and C prime to the center is the same distance, and this angle measure would be the same as the angle measure for B. The same would be true of A. So that's our rotation. So let's try to do one. Get your compass out. It's going to be a little tough for me to do because laying a compass on the computer screen sometimes touches it off and makes it jump around. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with triangle ABC. Draw yourself a triangle and a point P, kind of in the same relationship as I have. We're going to rotate 100 degrees around P. We're going to rotate triangle ABC. So we're going to take triangle ABC and rotate it this way 100 degrees. So let's start with angle A, or point A. So I'm going to draw a line between A and P with my straight edge. This is really hard to do on the computer. And then I want to take and lay my protractor so that it's centered on P and lined up with A. So my protractor, whoops, again I said sorry, it jumps around a little bit when I'm doing this. My protractor is going to be laid down and look something like this. That's where my protractor is. And I'm going to go over here from A, I'm going to come across here to where the 100-degree mark is. So let me try and lay my protractor down again and find my 100 degrees. So my 100 degrees is right about here. Then I'm going to draw a line from P to my point that is 100 degrees out. Now, taking your compass, you're going to measure the distance from A to P, and then keeping it centered on P, you're going to swing around and measure off a similar distance on this line. So that's using our compass as a measuring unit. If you're having trouble getting this, don't worry, we'll do one in class, but I wanted to show you one on the video. Oops, I lost my line. So that is my new point, A prime. And let me try and get rid of the rest of this stuff so I can do another one. So still using point P, I'm now going to measure, or actually just draw a straight line to B. Using your protractor, I'm going to go around my protractor until I get to 100 and draw another line. Let's see if I can do this without making it jump. Nope, I'm having trouble. All right, not exactly straight, but okay. And then taking my compass, take your compass and measure off from B to P, and then swing it around, keeping it on P, and swing around till you can arc off a point, and that is your B prime. Okay, one more to go. See if we can get C. So again, line up P and C. Lay your compass on that. Measure 100 degrees. Lay your compass again. Trouble writing all of a sudden. Okay, hold on. Oh, goodness. Let me try that one more time. See if I can write again. There we go. All right, so I got to lay my compass out again. Find my 100-degree point. That's better. Try and draw a line. Pick up your compass. I'm sorry, that was my protractor. Pick up my compass again. Measure off PC. Swing it around and arc where C prime should be. Doesn't look like I did a really fantastic job. Hopefully with your pencil and paper you did better, but it should look something like this. Doesn't look too bad. This got a little wonky. This triangle was rotated around 100 degrees. Again, I'll do another one with you in class when I can be a little bit more accurate on the chalkboard, but see if you can try one of these and see how it works. Most of our work is going to be rotation on a coordinate plane, but it always is a good idea to take a look at how we work with our compass and our protractor. All right, let's move on. Oh, come on. Now it doesn't want to behave at all. Okay, rotation in a coordinate plane. And again, we're talking counterclockwise here. So if I want to rotate 90 degrees around the origin of the coordinate plane, I want to rotate a point x, y. In order to rotate it 90 degrees, I am going to take the y value, put it first, change its sign, and take the x value and put it second. Copy this down. We'll do one in a minute. If I want to rotate it 180 degrees, I take the x, y, keep them in their position, but change both of their signs. To rotate it 270 degrees, 3/4 of the way around the coordinate plane, again, we switch the x and the y, but this time I make the x negative or opposite. And to rotate it all the way around and back to where it was, we don't have to do a darn thing. All right, let's try one of these. So copy down this shape where we have A as -5, -2, B is -3, -1, C is 0, -3, and D is -4, -5. And let's try to rotate 90 degrees. So A prime, rotating 90 degrees, the rule was go from x, y to -y, x. So A prime, x, y, if I take my y value, change its sign and put it first, and then just put the x where the y was. B prime, take my y value, put it first and change its sign, and just put the x value where the y was. C prime, the same, becomes 3, 0. And D prime becomes positive 5, 4. Let's plot these. 2, -5, there's A prime. 1, -3, there's B prime. 3, 0, C prime. And that should have been 5, -4. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -4, D prime. And if I connect these, I should see that I have rotated this 90 degrees. Why don't you try to rotate it 180 degrees for me and see how you do. You can do it right on the same graph paper if you'd like. Okay, so I hope you've done it yourself. My new A prime for 180 degrees rotation. Remember these, I keep everything the same order, but I switch the order, the sign. So 5, 2, B prime becomes 3, 1, C prime becomes 0, 3, D prime becomes 4, 5. So 5, 2, let me use a different color here. Okay. So this is my new A prime for 180 degrees. B prime is 3, 1. C prime is 0, 3. And my new D prime is 4, 5. And again, if we connect these, we should see that the shape has not changed, but it now has continued to rotate. Okay?